All right. As far as the injuries go, the guys that won't practice today are Cook with a concussion, Fenton with a hamstring spasm, Lamons with the hip pointer, and then Wharton. So, and then you saw where Stallworth was elevated for Whitley. And I think that's it. Wayne Gallman we brought on to the practice squad. Anyways, with that, we look forward to the challenge of playing the Bills. We know they're very well coached and very talented, and so we've got to have a good week of practice starting today. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Randy, what about Trent McDuffie? Is he good?
Trent, yes, he's back. He'll practice, yeah.
So this officially starts this 21-day window. As far as Harrison Butker, you're also expecting him to get on the field today as well?
Yeah.
Andy, just since the order of operations, we didn't check the day after the game. I was just wondering, did you get any sort of game report that indicated, just from the officials on the Chris Jones call, that whether or not they still stand by that?
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything yet, no.
Along those same lines, every team has an opportunity to submit at least 10 plays to the NFL officiating department for clarification or feedback. Without trying to get you fined here, is this a situation where you intend to submit a review on that?
Well, they'll let me know. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Andy, can that change coaching, the way they're calling roughing the passer now?
I think normally the league, if there's a question on something, then they come out with a video of what can be done and what can't be done. So we'll see what goes there.
Andy, I know you've spoken about this before, but just in looking at the arc of Travis's career, I wonder if you could speak to just how he came from I don't know if wild would be the proper way to say it, but he certainly needed to be harnessed a little bit. I just wonder if you could track that arc a little bit to where he is now.
Yeah, so Travis is a real smart kid, and he was the little brother. I had the big brother. He was the little brother, and sometimes the little brothers can get away with things that the big brothers can't. But listen, he came here. He was a little bit wild, but it was always in a fun, good way. Sometimes. So, but he's done well growing up, and he's doing a nice job now. Great leader, very hard worker, and that's been over the last, I don't know how many years. I mentioned I can't even tell you how long ago it was, where he was a playoff captain, voted by his teammates as playoff captain. How many ever years ago that was. So,
were you still watching when he sort of pretended to start the dunk ball at the goalpost, and at this stage of his career, do you know he won't do that? Or?
Yeah, I didn't think he'd do that.
You ever called Jason back in the early years and say, hey, talk some sense into your brother?
That's tampering, so I can't.
Andy, with looking at Buffalo's pass rush, it appears to be one of the best in the league. I just wonder what sort of sets them apart from maybe teams that you guys have played so far this season.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at all their positions, they're solid and very, they're good players at all the positions. You don't see a lot of weaknesses there. They're well coached. They understand the scheme. I mean, they've been doing it now for a while, and they've got it. And so, that's all part of it. And Leslie is a phenomenal football coach. So I mean, he's got them playing hard, aggressive, understanding the scheme.
Your tree's talked a lot about your coaching tree. Just how proud have you been with the program that he's been able to build with McDermott?
Yeah, he's done a great job, phenomenal job, and that's a unique place to coach, in that it's a smaller town and they're very passionate, and I think they respect the game up there and understand the game, and I think they really appreciate what Sean's brought to them.
And you guys have been really good at coming back in big deficits like the other night since Pat's been here. Is it just a case of you guys are a high-scoring team no matter what the situation is, or is there something else you can put your finger on why you guys have been so good with your backs to the wall?
Yeah, listen, I think it starts with Pat. There's no panic if if you get behind, you don't want to be behind, but if you're there, he's not panicking, which would send a message to the other guys, really the rest of the team, that you're in trouble. I mean, but the guys always feel like they're in it with the way he handles himself. And then I tell you, I think the coaches do a nice job. They make adjustments and that are beneficial to helping you get kind of redirected.
Patrick has shown trust in Travis and Juju here early. How important was it to see the production supplemental behind in MBS and the whole?
Yeah, no, that's a positive. They're growing in this offense, and I think they'll continue to, because they're hard worker. I think they'll continue to that growth will continue. So we'll be able to see that.
Coach, we get Darius Harris here this afternoon. How impressed are you over his body of work over the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, great kid, first of all, and smart, and very hard worker. So he gives you, even when he's on the scout team part of it, he gives you 110% on the scout team. Phenomenal look. And so you just kind of figure that, listen, he gets in there, he's going to do fine. And he's been able to digest the defense and stay on top of that. And so everybody around him has confidence that he jumps in, and here we go. It's not, we don't feel like you're losing, taking steps backwards.
Coach, you've seen the Bills a few times over the last few years. What are your observations, I guess, of Josh Allen and how he's kind of matured throughout this offense and bringing everything together?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. He's a good kid, and I think he's playing well. You heard all the stories of when he was coming out about this and that, and you're always pulling for those guys that even do better than what was expected. So he's a good football player, tough kid, good football player, in a good system too. He's been blessed to have good coaches, which also helps.
And they must have some sort of that kind of same spirit you guys have, because they've had to come from behind win at Baltimore and things like that. You see some of the same things from him leadership-wise that you see from Patrick more up close? Yeah,
so I'm not in the room with him. I'm in the room with Pat every day. I already see him every day, and so it's different that way. But I think he's done a nice job, and you can tell by his teammates that they trust him, and that's probably the indicator we get from the outside without being there.
Coach, we won't get an official status on Trent. Is the expectation for him to do a full load, or is it like an ease in and wait and see?
Yeah, we'll see. He's been rehabbing, and we'll just see how he does. I mean, he's been going full speed with his rehab. So, but we'll see how he does working back in.
And
A couple more guys.
Patrick mentioned just having a conversation with the offensive lineman on the field during the game. Just as a coach, can you sort of elaborate on just how much that does resonate, how much that does factor into a game? Yeah,
no, it's important, and the linemen appreciate that. Not that they don't know if things aren't going right, but that he's right there with you and fighting his tail off. I mean, you appreciate that as a lineman, and you can handle it. If that guy handles himself the right way, we always talk about if his closet's clean, then he can do that. He can put the hammer down a little bit on guys, and they respond. So, and they all know he works hard. He's competitive, he's smart, and so they respect it when, if he needs to give him a little juice.
Coach, you had to count on Joshua Williams for a pretty big snap there at the end of the game. What's that say about him? He can come in cold like that and make a big play, and your depth overall at corner.
Yeah, so I always go back to Veach and the job that he and his guys do. This kid went to a smaller school. He's very intelligent, and he's big. But he hadn't played, obviously, at this level. But he jumped right into training camp and the OTAs and all, and worked. And so you pull, again, for that kid and doing what he's doing. I think special teams has also helped him. We talk about the speed of the game. Special teams helps you with that for defensive players. Space awareness, it helps you with that. So he's really done a nice job growing on the special teams. And then he stepped in and had, arguably the biggest play of the game right there. So.
Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.